New chapter. New chapter. It's always so great to start a new chapter, isn't it? Especially when it's a word you know before, like perimeter. Do you know what perimeter is? Right. Perimeter is the distance around a shape. Perimeter is the distance around a shape. How do we find perimeter? Do you remember? Yep, you add up all the sides. You have done this since elementary school. Perimeter, or I say perimeter is plus. Perimeter is plus. We plus or add up all the sides. And so we use perimeter like, whenever we want to find the distance around something, right? So in any kind of like building anything, right, you would need to know the perimeter. Picture frames, you need to know the perimeter. So I'm just going to leave that blank, but we use it lots of times. We're going to need to remember things like 1 foot is 12 inches. 1 yard is how many feet? 3. Do you remember how many millimeters in a centimeter? 10, right? And how many centimeters in a meter? Right, 100. So those are just some kind of like basic things that we need to remember. We also need to remember that a regular polygon has what? All equal sides and all equal, right, angles. So those are things like a square, equilateral triangle, stop sign, all equal sides, all equal angles. So now we're just going to find the perimeter, and then don't forget the units. So you'll hear me say a lot that perimeter has plane units. Perimeter has plane units. So this is an isosceles triangle. To find the perimeter, I would add 10 plus 6 plus 6, or 22, but don't forget the centimeters, right? Here we've got a rectangle, right? 15 plus 15 is 30, plus 4 plus 4, do you agree? 38 inches. Now you want to be careful. You want to notice where we have a little star. Little star is kind of telling you something like, hey, there's something different about this one. What's different about number 3? Right, the units are different. We can't add them up if one is in yards and one is in feet. So we've got to create equivalent units. So 8 times 3, right, there's 3 feet in a yard. This is the same as 24 feet. So the numbers I'm going to add up are 40 plus 40, which is 80, plus 24 plus 24, which is 48, or 128 feet. Your units have to be the same. Nice thing with number 4 is regular polygon, square, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. Do you see the star in number 5? What do we have to change in number 5? Right, 1 foot has to be changed to 12 inches. So I believe that's going to add up to 39 inches. Another regular polygon, this is a hexagon, 2.5. If you want, you can write the 2.5 on every segment, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. That's all going to add up to 15 inches. So far, so good? Great. Now a little bit differently. They're giving you the perimeter, and you have to find the missing side. And it's a square. So if all 4 sides add up to 24, and they're all equal, wouldn't we just do 24 divided by 4, or 6? Good. What about number 8? It's 2 missing sides. Well, in a rectangle, the opposite sides are equal, so x there is going to be 12. I know the perimeter is 32, so 12 plus 12 is 24. 32 minus 24 is 8. But don't I have to cut that in half? So each side is 4. So you see them getting a little tougher here. The last 3, it's going to be really helpful to use different colors here. So what I'm going to notice here for x is that this is 9, and this is x, and this is 16. So the 9 plus the x has to add up to 16. So x here is 7 centimeters, and I'm going to write it on the picture as well. To do y, I'm going to look at the vertical segments. 6 and y have to add up to 14. So what does the y have to be? Right, 8 centimeters. Then for the perimeter, I'm going to add them all up. So let's see, 16 and 14, that adds up to 30. Let's see, 8 and 7 is 15, and 15, I think it's going to be 60, and when it's all said and done, 60 centimeters. Again, looking at the vertical and horizontally different, x and 3 is going to add up to 6, so the x has to be 3 inches, don't forget the units. The y and the 4 has to add up to 7, so the y has to also be 3 inches. Perimeter is adding up all the sides. One thing I do that makes my life easier is I kind of look for tens. So like 7 plus 3 adds up to 10. 4 plus 6 adds up to 10, so that's 20, and then I have those two left, so 26 inches. Last one, like this, so 4 and x and 3 all had to add up to 12. So 4 and 3 are 7. 7 plus 5 is 12, 5 inches. And then this y, though, this is tricky because I got 6 and 3 and 5 and y. Well, this one, which I didn't ask you for, would be 3, right? So this guy would be 3, and if that whole thing is 5, the y is going to be 2 inches. That's a little tricky. Then if I add them all up, again, I'm going to look for multiples that add up to 10. So 6 and 4 add up to 10. Let's see, what do I have here? 5 and 5, so like there's another 10, so that's 20. That was 2 and 3, so maybe I'm just going to have to be like 20, 22, 25, 28, and 28 and 12 is 40. Calculator obviously would have been easier. Find the perimeter of a regular octagon. Each side is 8. I gave it away. Each side is 4. But aren't there 8 sides in an octagon? So they would all add up to 32. Find the number of sides if the perimeter is 180 and each side is 15. Wouldn't I just divide those numbers? And it's 12 sides, not 12 centimeters, 12 sides. In an equilateral triangle, each side is 8. How many sides in an equilateral triangle? Right, 3. 8 plus 8 plus 8, 24. Last one, this we're going to take with us into the next section. Label the sides of 3 different rectangles if the perimeter is 12. Well, there's 3 different ways you can get a perimeter of 12 in a rectangle. This one looks like a square, right? Aren't all sides equal in a square? 3, 3, 3. What's another way you can add up to 12 in a rectangle? Well, what if this slide is like 2? So I'd have 2 and 4. That would leave me 8, so I would have to divide that, so like 4 and 4. Something like that. And what about this one? This looks a little smaller on the side, so what if it's 1 and 1? That leaves me with 2, and then 5 and 5. So don't those all have a perimeter of 12? Yeah. And so now, my hint, if 4 sides add to 12, then what does the length and width have to add to each time? 3 plus 3, 4 plus 2, 5 plus 1. Right, each time the length and width add to half the perimeter. So the length and width add to 6. That we're going to use in the next section. So there was a lot in this section. I know perimeter is plus and plain units, but we're definitely getting into more high school applications of perimeter.